Let's kick off with a good memory each of us have about our dads.
I think for me, a good memory that I have of my dad, well, I'm going to say two actually. One, I remember when I was little and I used to get up early when my dad used to get up to go to work, and he used to make me boiled eggs with toast.
Okay.
You know, and the other memory is him teaching me, like he used to get coins out and teach us how to count money and, you know, how to count and subtract and all that sort of thing. They're the two things that I think are fond memories that I remember.
Me?
Yeah.
Yes. You're next.
Okay. One of my fond memories, I've got, say, at least two, is and similar, because I thought that you were going to say the same thing, but he was making us different breakfasts.
Okay.
So he would wake up early in the morning, and I would hear him, and I would get up early, and he would make me cornflakes with warm milk and tip a little bit of brandy in it.
Oh wow!
You mustn't tell your mother.
You know about that, Claire?
No, obviously I missed out. I missed out.
The boiled eggs.
You boiled eggs and brandy.
Exactly, that doesn't work. But I remember
wow.
that we used to sit down and we would have our
Granny
breakfast
Marshall
together.
used to put brandy in the warm milk.
Okay,
Really?
I love that.
Yeah.
Love it.
Wow.
And the other lovely memory is, and I love, is that what I loved about him was that even though we had two girls, he didn't think, sort of limit us. So I remember him teaching us both actually how to, and that was back in the day when the fuse inside the plugs, how to unplug, how to put the neutral, the live, exactly how to string up the plugs, put in the fuse and everything, and make it work. So if the fuse blew, we could do that.
And you done that? Wait a minute. How old was you?
We were young.
Yeah.
We were young.
Yeah.
We were young, but I remember I could do all of that stuff. If the fuse blew in a plug, he would say, "Andrew and Clea."
Yeah,
Come and
I
string
think
up
he was very much like when he was
Practical.
doing stuff.
Yeah, he would.
We were around.
Yeah. Even soldering.
That's what I was going to say. The soldering. He used to have this soldering thing that you took up to the light.
To the lights,
Iron.
yes.
And then he used to like solder stuff. And I remember
Metal or
watching him,
whatever.
doing that.
And he used to say, "You want to, help us to." We used to get involved, painting, decorating, anything.
Yeah.
We used to be involved in it. So that's what I loved. Like he didn't think because we're girls that we can't do this, we can't do that. It's like
Funny
he got
how
us
they
involved.
used to have stuff that used to connect to the light.
Yes.
His dad had a shaver that used to connect to the light.
The socket, isn't it? Was it to the socket? I think.
Yeah,
No, it connected to the light.
Yeah,
to
like
the light. Just like a bulb.
the bulb.
Like you said,
So that's the socket, isn't it?
No, it was wires. I'm sure.
No, there used to be a socket that connected to the
Oh, was
light.
it? I
Yes.
thought, okay.
And that was his shaver,
Yeah.
and I always remember that. But that was obviously when we were quite small.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's
my
nice.
memories. Yeah.
So he was a very practical man,
Very
and he made sure that you
Yeah.
Yeah.
got us
were
involved.
practical as well.
Definitely.
That's good.
I think.
Sis?
I think there's so many, right? I think one of my fondest memories is the first time we went to Jamaica, which is it 79? Was it? When did we go? I feel it was 79 or 80.
13. I know. You were 8 years old. I remember that much.
Okay, so that's 79 then. And I just remember, well, it feels like back then you like came off the plane onto the tarmac, right?
Yeah.
And I remember we arrived in Jamaica at night, and I remember we got off at the top of the stairs, and I was like, oh, what's that smell? What's that smell? And he said, my love, that is Jamaica. yeah. I remember thinking, oh, God, this is not like England. It doesn't smell like England. So that's one of my really fondest memories. And I also remember him taking me to Milton Keynes. I don't know why, but back then, I think Milton Keynes was like up and coming, right? I guess, right? It was a new town. So this would have been about, I definitely was under 10.
Okay.
So we're
It was a new
talking
town.
40-something years.
It was, yeah.
But I just remember him taking me to shops. Like we went to a shopping place and buy me shoes. That's what I remember. And also, Dad was he was the first person to buy me not a designer bag, but I remember the bag was Fiorelli. You know that makeup bag, Fiorelli? Yeah, I remember he was the first one to buy me.
Brent Cross shopping centre.
Yeah, and he used to always take. Imagine we lived in Welling, and Dad used to take us to Brent Cross. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, Northwest. Where's that? Northwest.
Yeah, Northwest.
Yeah,
But that's
Yeah.
probably because
Yeah.
his office was in Hemel Hempstead.
yeah, I
Up in
guess.
Hemel,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's on the route
Right.
on the way
Right.
home
Yeah,
from
yeah,
his
yeah.
workplace. So,
Okay.
yeah.
But yeah, I have good memories of Dad, mostly shopping and him buying me stuff. For me, at least. Yeah, yeah. But yeah. You?
One of my earliest memories, and I don't know if it's a fond memory, but it brings comfort. I used to get chilblains when I was little, and he'd rub my feet, my toes, with the chilblain cream to stop them from burning.
Oh wow.
And obviously that's a comfort, even
Yeah,
though it was
yeah,
something.
yeah.
So that is a fond memory. A funny memory of Dad, another early memory, because I came from Jamaica when I was 3. And I always remember Dad saying, the word is not buckle, it's bottle. And I think in my little 3 or 4-year-old head, he was saying the same thing. You know, the word is not, I was hearing the word is not bottle, it's bottle, but I was pronouncing it buckle.
Yeah.
And he used to say, the word is not ox, it's ask. But I couldn't differentiate it. But it's only as I, obviously got older, I realised he was trying to cut the patois out of me. The word is not buckle, it's bottle.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh wow.
but a really fond memory because Dad loved surprises, and the first surprise I remember was Mum's birthday, and he got Andrew to take her out to a wine bar for a drink. It was hell to get Mum out of the house because she didn't want to go to a wine bar.
Yeah.
But Andrew got her out of the house, and we were all sitting in the front room, and as soon as the door shut, and then he was waiting to hear Andrew's car drive off, and as soon as he drove off, he went, right! And he jumps up, he's like, look at him, what's he doing? And he started getting all the drinks out of the car, and he had all this food, But he loved surprises, so that's one thing that I really loved about him. He surprised us to take us on holiday.
Yeah.
We didn't know we were going to Jamaica, so Vera's talking about the first time to Jamaica. We knew we were going, but we thought we were going like next month or something.
Okay.
Right.
And then we woke up one morning, because Dad did this all the time. He'd wake us up in the school holidays, and we'd think it's the middle of the night because it would be sometimes in the winter. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning, and he's taking us to
Belgium or
Holland or France. So he loved that. He loved surprises. And the first time we went to Jamaica was a surprise. So yeah, I loved that he loved to surprise us.
Yeah.
Yeah, parents. It's good things about dads.
That's when, we're fortunate to have had our dads. I mean, our dad died when we were fairly young, but I think the years that we did have him
They were
were good years.
Yeah, lasting memories.
It is.
Yeah, and you think like how I keep over. You were how you were.
I was 9.
You was 9. You
I
were
was
7.
Yeah.
Wow.
But you kind of base, I think we kind of touched on this probably slightly on a previous episode, but I think you kind of, it's like the way your father is, you kind of choose your partner kind of based upon...
That's what they say, That's what they say.
About the positive, the positive attributes that they have. And I do,
I can relate to that.
Yeah, I think it's...
Because there's aspects of Dad in my partner, that, in their mannerisms and their beliefs and things
That's
that
right,
they do.
that's right,
And I'm like,
that's right.
Just like that.
And I think it also gives you an expectation as well of how a man treats a woman.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because that's what you see.
That's
and
right.
That's
Well,
fortunately, again, for us, we've had positive experiences.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's
you
why I
know?
said the positives.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
because of the positives. Hopefully, you don't want to dwell on any negatives to say you're going to choose a man on any negatives. You know, but the positive sides, caring, you know, fun. I actually remember Cleo. And he used to do every time he comes home from work, we would hear the key coming through the door, and we would go and hide. And we're normally either under the dining table or behind a door or something.
Behind a curtain.
And he'd come in and he'd say, "Where is Angie and Cleo?" You know, or actually, he would call us Tay and Boom, because I was Boom and Cleo was Tay. That was his nickname.
Okay.
Where is Tay? Where is Boom? And then he, are they under here? And he does that sort of stuff. And then he finally finds them, we scream and run down and stuff. But like he knows that we were under the table. You look everywhere else before.
But where you are.
So it's just
it was fun. And I think even like him, I remember when like him and my mum used to be messing about, and they used to call us, and I used to always be on my mum's side, and he used to be on his side.
Oh,
you
wow.
know? But yeah.
I think Dad for me, Dad was, he was fun, I think, as we got older, maybe. I don't, because Dad was, you know, Dad, obviously, Dad was strict.
He was strict and serious, but it was fun when we were quite little.
Yeah,
because I remember at the dinner table. So you know, there's a lot of dining tables that open up.
Yes. Yeah.
So the table, the middle section was under the table. Yeah. So Dad would do this thing, like he would say to Virtues, "Oh, you see that spider up there?" And she's a baby of the family, so this time we're still at Mallion's Road, so she's probably about 3 or 4.
I don't
and he would take her plate and put it in that bit under the table. When she looked back, she'd be like, "Where's my dinner?" And I said, "I don't know. I don't know." So he was fun with things like that. You know?
Whereas I don't actually remember that.
Okay.
I remember that. He used to do that all the time.
I remember Dad as very serious. But he, as I said, like when you think of holidays and entertaining and parties, he loved that.
Yeah.
But then he was very serious.
And he was a storyteller.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And his stories took so long. Waiting for the cliffhanger, right?
Punchline.
The punchline,
Yeah.
But he was a strict man.
Yeah, he was. He was very strict. He was very strict. But guess it made us as we are, right?
Yes. Right. So let's have another look at fathers. It's Father's Day. What do you think about the missing fathers?
Well,
the absentee fathers.
What do I think about that?
What do you? How do you think absentee fathers affect the children?
Well,
massively. Massively.
You know, and I think more so boys, because I think it's important for them to have
a role model.
a male role model. And I'm not saying like uncles or, you know, granddads or other men can't fill that spot if the father is not there, but I think it is important, you know. Important. And I also think it depends on why the father's not there.
That's what I was
because you know, if it's like you've just lost your dad, you know, as in through death, not you know, like he hasn't just left, then it's like it's something obviously where that can't be helped. But I think you know, sometimes when you see kids who they've lost their as in their parents have divorced or, you know, again, that's slightly different because although he's absent from your day-to-day living, hopefully there should be a relationship there, you know.
But the ones that, as you said, that there's no contact, or I don't know, once you hear of, I'm sure we all have friends who the dads turn up once a month or
once every 3 months.
Once every 3 months.
But do you think some of that is, if you look back on how they were brought up, or whether so they're lacking in something themselves, and like I'm not making any excuse for them at all, you know, because it doesn't mean that whether you had a bad relationship with your father or whether your father wasn't there, you can't be a good father.
Yeah,
There is no excuse. But I think sometimes when you look back at their history,
Kind of makes sense.
it
why
makes
they
sense.
haven't.
Yeah,
Sometimes it makes sense.
I've witnessed both. I've seen fathers that have had good dads, or what we perceive to be good
Yes,
dads,
yes.
because there's always backstories.
Yes,
Yeah,
of course,
Yeah,
of
yeah,
course.
yeah.
No one's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No one's
and then
perfect.
they're not there for their children. And you think you grew up in a good family, and why is it not like that? And it's funny that we're speaking about fathers today because I'm having some work done at my house, and one of the workmen, I'd sort of booked him to work weekends at my house, and last night he rang and he said, "Oh, I'm coming tomorrow, but then I can't come anymore, like at the weekend."
Oh, okay.
And so when I saw him today, I was like, "Oh, what happened? You know, why?" He said, "My son, you know, he's 6 or 7, and he said, I work in every weekend, and you know, he said, Dad, I need, you know, I'm like he was doing a competition swimming or something, and he said, excuse me, I think when they were on holiday, they just got back from holiday or something, and he said, Dad, I've got to swim like 90 meters, and he said because the dad was there, he swam the 90 meters, but usually he doesn't manage, you know. And he said, you see, Dad, because you was there, I done it, you know. And he said he realised that he needs to be more present. So sometimes an absentee father could be a father that just works too much.
Yes,
you know?
that's very true.
And I think with our dad, that's why he loved the surprises and the holidays and these things, because he did work a lot. He used to work, I remember for a large part of my childhood, he worked 7 days a week. And then I think it was through his health that he just worked 6 days a week. You know, but for a long time he worked 7 days a week. And when you're young, you're in bed before he comes home. So, you know, you don't have all that. So absentee could come in many shapes and forms.
It's true.
But it definitely has a great reflection on the boys, because they need that role model, and especially when they're coming towards teenage years. I mean, they need it throughout their life, but definitely when they're going through, you know, adolescence, that's when I personally found that the boys needed their father, you know.
But sorry, so isn't it strange how you say that? Because then you look at someone like our dad, who he lost his dad when he was 7. So he never had a well, obviously he had his dad up to he was 7. Was he 7, he said? Was he 7 when his dad I think he was 7.
Yes.
So he never had that, but then you think to yourself, maybe...
But he had fond memories of...
He did, but I'm thinking,
years.
like, his siblings... Because what other father figure would he have had? He wouldn't have had any other ones.
No.
But then
But when he came to England, he came to his older brothers, his 2 older brothers.
Right.
And I always remember his youngest brother saying that Dad was like a father to him.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, true.
You know, there was more... I think Uncle Owen...
He was months old, wasn't he, when their dad, wasn't he?
Yes.
He was months old, I believe. Or maybe... He was young.
He was very
young.
Dad
was 5. He must have been... Like,
no, Dad was 7.
7, sorry.
When he passed,
Yeah, I think Uncle Owen was really young.
But Dad came to England at 17.
Yeah.
So, you know, Uncle Owen was just a little boy.
I was going to say, it's interesting that you touched on that point, Vertrice, because our dad didn't have a good relationship with his dad.
No.
Okay.
No.
I actually remember... I recall Uncle Bill, and Eve mentioned it again the other day, that Uncle Bill had a closer relationship with him, and he wanted our dad and his dad to meet each other. Like they were both living in England.
Okay.
But, so he asked Daddy to meet him at this cafe, and he told our granddad to meet him at the cafe. So when they just saw each other, but he didn't know that was his dad, and he didn't know that was his son.
Oh wow!
So, you know, he our granddad just thought that was a friend of Uncle Bill's, and
That was
he
his
just
son?
thought.
Wow.
And then he said, "Oh, I just want to say that meet your dad, meet your son."
Wow.
And my dad was like shocked, and both of them were shocked, sort of thing. But my dad was adamant that when he has a family, he wanted to make sure that he's close with his children and he's a good father and there for him.
Yeah.
But I think it works both ways, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because I think that, if your father's, you can have a good father and that makes you then become a good father because
Yep.
you've seen that. And then you can have a bad one and
You
you
become
turn
a
out
good
to be a
one.
bad one.
Exactly.
Or
In life, everything is a choice.
right.
You
It's a choice.
choose.
Exactly.
You choose
Which
which road you want, which path you want to
Yeah,
take.
that's right. That's right.
In
Exactly.
everything.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah,
go on.
no, go. You
No,
go.
I always remember Dad. We were having a conversation about, I can't remember who it was, but we were talking about someone that had left, like their children. So I'm talking like maybe I'm early 20s, whatever. I think I'd had Jordan. And I always remember Dad saying to me, and I remember thinking, wouldn't you? He said he would never leave his children. And I always remember thinking to myself, you would never leave your children? But I just thought to myself, like, if you had a breakdown in a relationship, are you always just going to stay because of the children? Because that's what it came across
Some
to me. Like,
people do.
I remember him saying that to me. He said he would never leave his children.
Well, in a sense, like he never left me
Yeah,
because
yeah,
he,
well,
he was not in a relationship with my mother, and at the first opportunity, he sent for me.
Right.
So in that respect, I can understand. He made sure that he was a
wanted all
father
of his
to me,
children.
and there was a lot of controversy because they said he stole me away because he asked me to come on holiday and then I never came back. But what...
That would have been a problem.
but what he said and what my natural mother explained to me, what he said to her is, when you're doing better than me, then he'll send her back to me. But she was struggling.
I see.
So in his eyes, he was helping her
Fine.
and
What did
helping
she
me.
think, though?
But she wanted me back, but she was struggling. So it is difficult when you've got a breakup of relationships, marriages, whatever. There will always be the child that suffers in the middle.
But I do think with that, I mean, some mothers though, I do think are, like some mothers would be, look, if I ain't getting no money from you, you ain't seen the child. I don't believe in all of that.
No.
Because for the child, it doesn't matter, even if they see them once in a while, that child always wants to have contact with the parent.
Right.
And
That's right.
it's like, so even if it's not to the mother's satisfaction, or, they come once in a while. The only time I think the mother should kind of step in those sorts of things is if, like when dads promise, I'll come pick you up this weekend, and they don't come, and it's a consistent thing. Then it's like, just
if it's
forget
upsetting
it.
the child,
You always hear children say about that.
At the window,
waited till dad doesn't come. Dad doesn't come.
It's terrible.
I went through that with my boys, And the thing is, when they do come, they're just over the moon. They forget all of that,
It doesn't matter to them.
And I always remember my youngest, when he was about 7 or 8, I bought him a bike, and we were on Rochdale Road, learning to ride the bike, and a stranger said, "Oh, that's a lovely new bike. Who bought that bike for you?" And he said, "My daddy bought it." And I said, "Your dad did not buy the bike. I bought it."
But why do you think he said that, though?
Because he wanted his
bike.
dad was his idol. It didn't matter that he didn't see him that often
Regular,
or that regular.
Yeah.
And, I was so angry. And then, it took a long time for me to think, you shouldn't be angry with the child,
Because this is what he wanted.
Yeah, because I was thinking, you need to remember, and I was like, you did. But, and it just goes to show that the fathers do need to be there. They do need to be there.
And also,
just work it
I
out.
think even, years, like say you've had an absentee father for years, I don't believe there is any point in a child's life where they don't want to have that relationship. So
It's just navigating it, because
listen,
sometimes
I think even when they're angry with the dad,
Yeah.
you know, still I think it's, as long as that dad is willing at some point to want to know that child, they should keep trying, because the child does. You've got to keep just treading carefully and keep trying, because that child
110%.
always wants to have that relationship one way or
agree.
and
another.
even if they think they don't want it, they need it.
Right.
They need it.
That is the word need.
Yeah.
And I've seen the same
Yeah.
thing where I felt that, you know, my son needed to have that relationship. I needed to encourage it.
Yeah.
Because no matter how I felt about, like, well, I'm a
The
single mother,
situation,
I
yeah.
can be mother and father. I realised, hold on a minute,
they
no
still-
matter he
can't be
still
the
needs
father.
his dad.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to encourage it, even if he said no, I don't.
Yeah.
He needed it,
Yeah.
and I had to
Of
make
course,
sure
of
that
course.
that something was fostered and started
Yeah.
in order, because I knew that he needed that to have that balance.
Yeah.
So
And I guess if you
I
didn't
think
push
it's so
for it,
important. Yeah.
he would have just kind of sat back.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have happened.
That's right. That's
And
right.
I think, because when I even think about Rico, and I think, you know, there was times when he wanted to see his dad and used to ring him up, and he used to think I was preventing it, and I've never prevented it. And he used to like say, but you haven't even rung him, because I used to say, look, your dad's not going to come and get you. And he said, but you haven't even rung him. And I pick up the phone and, yeah, Rico wants to see you. And I'll give the phone to Rico, and he'll be like, oh, son, I can't take you today, or whatever. And Rico would put the phone down. He used to be angry.
You.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
But what I see, obviously, now he's a man, him with his children, he is the father that...
He wanted his dad to
Yeah.
be.
And
this is exactly
And
what
this
we're
is
talking
it.
about.
Man.
Yeah.
Goosebumps.
And, you know, I think Angie said earlier, what one of you mentioned earlier, that if a child has a negative experience with their father, they say, oh, you know, I'm going to be the opposite. I'm going to do the best.
Yes.
And that's exactly what my first son said. And I can, you know, vouch that I've witnessed that he's a very good father with his kids. So, yes, the balance, it can go either way. He chose to do the opposite to what he
what
felt
he
he needed.
experienced.
And
Yeah.
experience. So,
Yeah.
so there are some positives that come out of some, you know.
That's it. And sometimes it's like, because when I think about Rico's dad, he, now with the grandchildren,
He's very good.
into the grandchildren and wants them around and goes,
But
bye.
isn't that different? I think that's down to like being a grandparent, though,
Yeah,
isn't it?
absolutely.
I think
and
it's-
I do think it's a bit of make-up time. I do.
think so?
Yeah. I do think, obviously, he's got his regrets.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
And people change and grow. and,
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
They hindsight is a wonderful thing, isn't it? They can look back and say,
Yeah,
you
and
know,
also it
I
depends
shoulda,
on how
woulda,
old
coulda.
you are.
No, it doesn't.
You don't think so? Yeah, I think
Listen.
it does. It does.
No.
In,
I know.
so,
What
in
I'm
what
saying-
respect?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's right.
Like,
Yeah.
so, like, I don't know. You think of like, 14-year-old dads.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
slightly
you know what I'm
different,
saying?
but
Yeah.
that's an exception.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
to me, I'm talking about even from, 18, 19, it's like, mothers,
well,
generally speaking, yeah?
have to.
It doesn't matter what age they have the
You
baby.
have to step up.
Yeah,
we
you're
do,
now a
but
mother.
that's the difference between men and
Yeah,
women,
we've
isn't
got to
it?
step up.
You know, that we do step up regardless.
Yeah.
The majority.
And this is what I
of
say
us,
to my lot, that, often, obviously, none of them have got children yet, but I'm very much like, when I was 25, when we were 25, I'd had all the I'd had my
There you
children.
go.
And 25, you're still quite young,
Yes, of
right?
course you're young.
You had the children.
Trinity, she's 19, almost 20. And when I say I was pregnant with Rico at 19, she's like, that's insane. She's like, oh my God. Like, she couldn't even imagine
Like,
herself.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's like, you step up to the plate.
Yeah,
I mean,
we do though. We do. But as I said, maybe they do say men mature slower, or boys mature slower than women, behind women. So maybe that's their excuse.
But then you think back to our fathers and mothers.
yeah.
They had us young. But then they were a lot more mature, weren't
Yes.
they?
Yeah, I
They had,
think
because they
so.
had to be.
Yes.
They had
They
to
were
be,
forced
right?
to.
You know,
Remember a
so
lot
that
of
your
the-
dad came
it's-
here at 17.
Yeah,
My mum
yeah.
came here at 17.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't have like, you know, grandparents
No,
and whoever
no.
to fall back on.
Exactly.
You know,
You had to
it
just
was
work it
about,
out.
Yeah.
It was a different
Get
time.
on
And
with it.
imagine a different country, different
Exactly, environment.
and
17
racism.
And the
You're a
racism,
child,
the
you know?
discrimination.
Yeah,
The,
it's like, it's a
You're a
lot.
child at 17,
Yeah.
right? You're, I mean,
Yeah, you
when
are.
I think of the stories that Dad used to say when he came up, you're just like,
Yeah.
and you made it through, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
You made it through.
they done well.
Yeah, they did
Yeah.
They
excellent.
done really well
did, they
because you know, as black people in Britain, some of the negative things that we have to experience during our life, and you think how we react and we respond as adults. So can you imagine our parents and all of that Windrush generation coming here at the tender age and having to deal with people a lot older than them
Yeah.
with all those negative,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
They done really well
Yeah,
to
they
survive
did.
it and
Literally, to
yeah.
survive.
Yeah, to survive it.
Sorry, anyway. You say something,
That's
but
a whole nother story, right? A whole nother
It
discussion,
really
rather.
is, it really is. I think, I don't know, I think it's Father's Day.
But talk about Father's Day. I was actually saying that I don't remember Father's Day being celebrated before the 90s, like late, mid-90s. You know,
When did it start though?
I don't know.
I don't
'Cause
think
it's
in
true,
this
but
country.
No, but it's
def-
never been like, even now, Father's Day is not on the same scale as Mother's Day.
No, it's not.
It
It's
just
not.
isn't.
But I don't.
Google.
Yeah, that's what
Google it.
I'm
Google
gonna,
it.
I'm
When
gonna,
it-
I'm
it's
gonna
not,
roll.
Yeah.
it's not on the same scale.
No.
But,
But I don't
and that's
remember.
because
in the
mothers-
70s.
Yeah,
I don't recall in the
it's almost
70s
like I
when
can
Father's
remember
Day.
when Father's Day came about.
Yeah.
You remember,
in
you
this
say?
country, yeah.
Okay.
And obviously, my children would have been, small.
Young.
Oh, you remember when it came about?
Right.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying I remember like, oh, it came in this year, but I remember them promoting it and thinking, oh,
Okay.
Father's Day. I wasn't really too impressed. It was like, you could do without that one.
Okay, oh man, bloody hell.
But I think it was my experience at the time. That's why I knew the kids were small, because there was
Okay.
nothing to celebrate.
Well, no, look at it. It says Father's Day. Well, AI overview. Father's Day, obviously, it came from the US. Began entering British popular culture in the 1940s.
In
Oh,
1940s.
really?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
surely,
I don't recall
no,
it in the
never.
40s.
I
Does
think-
it say
I think-
anymore, though?
Next
Does
is
it?
1940s and
Nah.
1950s.
In America?
After World War II.
When-
It gained,
Wow.
it gained widespread mainstream acceptance in the 70s.
Okay,
makes
that
sense,
yeah.
right?
So,
So,
yeah.
yeah, in the 70s, it was more. But I think, I don't remember.
I don't recall.
Do
But
you
then I don't
remember-
remember Mother's Day, though,
Oh, no.
when we was growing
No,
up.
no.
Do you?
I
No,
remember
I
Mother's
remember.
Day.
Yeah, I
Mother's
do,
Day.
yeah.
we used to- yeah,
Because
we
on
used to
Mother's
do
Day,
lot of
we'd make
Mother's
her breakfast in
used to
bed
do
and we'd
cake.
take
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
the cards
Yeah,
out
all
with the
sorts of
tray
stuff.
and all
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And at school, you'd make Mother's Day cards.
Cards, exactly.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yes.
it's
Yeah.
true, it's true. Okay,
But I
yeah.
don't remember making Father's Day
no.
cards at school. No, Mother's Day has always been
Yeah, a big thing.
Better.
a big...
As it should.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, as it should. Yeah.
course.
That's what I think anyway.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Anyway, we're going to wrap up. What do you want to end this with, sis?
No, just good memories of our dad. We had a
Yeah.
good dad, and
Blessed to have.
blessed to
Yeah,
have
for
a
the
deep-
time.
Yeah. to
And
have
it's
good
funny
fathers.
because even though I think this is going to be our third Father's Day without Dad, is it our third one? Yeah, because we're 26, right?
Yeah. 2023.
This is our third one. And I think this week, as obviously I knew it's Father's Day, I think the first
it's
one...
actually the fourth one.
Huh?
It's actually the fourth one, isn't it? Because
No,
the
it can't
first
be.
one was the same year that he died in 2023, 24, 25, 26.
So
So
23,
the first
24,
Father's Day was
Oh,
the
I
same
see.
year that he
Right,
died.
okay.
So it's actually
right,
the fourth one.
So, right. And I remember the first one. I stayed in bed. I struggled. I really struggled with that. But then in the same breath, I'm just thinking, obviously, you want the boys to And they did,
Yeah.
obviously, they took their dad, and as I said to Paul, you're not my dad, so...
Yeah, well, it's true.
Someone said
It's
to
true.
me today,
Yeah, you're not
it's
my
like her
dad.
husband said to her, you know, so what are you doing for me for Father's Day? She said, are you my daddy?
Yeah.
yeah.
I think when obviously the kids are small, then
You make
yeah,
them fun,
you
yeah.
but
But the kids
yeah,
are old
now
enough
Yeah.
to
it's
raise
like they
something.
don't want to do nothing.
Yeah.
That's up to
But I
them.
think, like,
As a single mother, I used to say happy Father's Day to myself.
Well,
Yeah, yeah.
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember a few years. My son said to me, "Happy Father's Day"
Yeah.
on
Wow.
Father's Day as well.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
because I felt that I did both jobs. But,
Yeah, I think tomorrow. The plan is. I don't feel. Right now, I don't feel like I'm going to be upset tomorrow. Whereas the last 3 years, I've struggled. Like coming up to it, I was like, I don't want to have to think about Father's Day. But I think tomorrow, the plan is that I'm just going to do something for myself. I'm just going to, because as I said, I'm assuming the boy's going to take out Paul.
Dad. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just gonna, and just remember Dad. I think just gonna
fond memories,
fond
yeah.
memories, because Dad,
One
Dad
of a
was a
kind.
funny one, wasn't he?
Yep.
Very funny one. So yeah. What's your lasting?
I think. Yeah. I mean, it's around about 48 years since our father passed. And I was saying this week, coincidentally, on Google Photos, they kind of give, and it came up with this. I'm thinking, I don't know if it was Mummy sent it to me, but a photo of me. I look about
Baby, months old.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe about
Yeah.
maybe about a year.
With who? Your dad?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, my dad, and it's a picture. It's like I've put it on my WhatsApp profile,
Oh, okay.
and I've came up this week, and I was like, wow, this is an old picture, but I put it up. I just remember him, and just I said just think about the fond memories and just be grateful that I
you
have
had
fond.
him.
I had,
Yeah.
I had very
On
good
the time that you had
memories.
with him.
Yeah.
Definitely. Same with you, Claire?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Father's Day, because it wasn't something that was celebrated when my dad was alive,
Yeah.
it's not something
Right.
that kind of links me to him in that way.
Yeah, I understand.
So I just think, obviously, with Laurel, I mean, his kids would normally do, something for him, and I suppose it's more about him than it is about,
You not having
Yeah.
a father, yeah.
Yeah, so happy Father's Day anyway
Yeah, happy
to
Father's
all the
Day.
fathers
Father's
out
Day.
there.
Definitely. Happy Father's Day.